Hi, I'm Tandy Gutierrez. I'm the founder of MattenKitchen.com, and I've been an educator in the fitness and wellness industry for nearly 2 decades now. I always say that I'm a bridge between fitness into wellness and then wellness into spirit. And tonight I gathered some of my very dearest and favorite Matten Kitchen members and asked them to share what Matten Kitchen solves for them in their life, and most in particular this evening, what it solves for them as women in the world. So we're gonna start with a very dear friend of mine who also happens to be a member of Matten Kitchen. And so we'll go through and everybody's just gonna share, and hopefully their stories resonate with you and that you see yourselves in many of them or yourselves a part of this group down the road. So Emily, will you share with what Matten Kitchen solves for you in your life?
Yes, I will. So my name's Emily. I live in Seattle. I came to Matten Kitchen a few years ago by seeing a mutual friend on Facebook post something about having a personal trainer in her living room. And at the time I'd had my second child and I was like hating going to the gym and I never enjoyed that anyway. So I thought, oh, well, this sounds kind of like I can be really efficient and get everything taken care of at my house without having to get in the car and bring a baby somewhere. So I did the workout and I was hooked, and I couldn't believe how intense it was at first, but also how good it made me feel afterwards. And I also loved that I could literally do it in my pajamas on the living room floor with a baby crawling around. And so it certainly helped me as a new mom kind of get back into some fitness. But I also think more than fitness or, even the physical stuff about getting back after a baby, it was just also the wellness piece and what it meant for my kids to see me doing things and taking care of my body and doing it in a way that made me feel strong and not about a number on a scale or inches. And so I really liked that's both what Tandy models and also that I got to be this role model for my daughter. And certainly in the last year in this current kind of political climate and culture, I have felt even more strongly aware of that and sort of my role as a mom and as a woman. And I am about to turn 40, so that feels like a really big deal and kind of a milestone. And in many ways, Matten Kitchen has pushed me out of my comfort zone in all of the right ways. And initially I had thought, oh, it's just a fitness thing and I just want to work out and I'm not going to do the food stuff at all. And boy, was I wrong about that. And it really did become this journey of my own, resulting in a tattoo at age 38 of a beet. And that was like something that I never would have thought I would do. I was always the like goody two shoes rule follower. And I was still scared to tell my mom at 38 that I got a tattoo, but I did. And part of it was this like visual reminder of, doing things that are hard and doing them in spite of the fact that they're hard and knowing that when I do them, they make me feel better about myself and as a mom and as a partner and as a woman. So I think those are kind of the big things and just the increased awareness of what my existence is. So that physical space that I take up in the world and how that has worked for me from a fitness standpoint, but then also realizing the food that I put in my body has an impact on how I feel. And gosh, no doctor ever thought to mention that. And no offense to doctors, but that took a while to sort of have that aha moment. And then, even farther than that, getting ready for what it means to be a woman and a role model to my daughter. And so, yeah, that's it. That's
a lot.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. How many years have you been on the mat now?
Oh, I think my 4-year matchiversary is coming up. Yeah, right?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Emily.
You're welcome.
So, I love it. Because what I love is, one, I remember pictures of Sylvie, teeny tiny, on the mat. She's no longer teeny tiny on the mat. I love it. Okay. Kim, my love, So,
Hello.
yeah. If you'll tell us a little bit about yourself and what it solves for you.
Absolutely. My name is Kim. I'm from Southern California. I'm hitting my 1-year anniversary from being on the mat. And it definitely has been a huge blessing for me to be a part of the MK community. I am 53 at the end of this December. Can you believe it?
I
Even
know.
with a half a century behind me, I would know better. But I've learned so much this past year with M&K because I love movement and fitness was never an issue. But then I always had other things that were never balanced in my life. So the wellness was always unattainable for me for one thing or another. So when you say you do fitness into wellness, into spirituality and spiritual wellness, that really works well for me because it's a process where I can work with all three of those facets. Like meditation is new to me this year. And I really love those times on the mat with you where I just get to chill out and just be quiet, right? So the fitness is so much fun. The workouts are really challenging. That's what really surprised me because you're on the mat, you're just kind of lifting your legs. But wow, it was, I definitely have gotten stronger. And also the kitchen part. I've become quite a cook.
I did not know
And
this.
it's amazing the skills you can put up. But I really loved it. It's a huge part of my life now. I can't imagine what I would be without M&K. And the one thing that I really love about it is that you are my personal trainer. I can get on Facebook, get on email, and within 15 minutes, I get back from you. So I feel like you're always accessible. You're so understanding, even though, if I don't get on the mat, if I'm not eating, you always put me back on track. And my women on Facebook are the same way. Everybody's full of support, no judgment, full of great information. So I always feel I have this support system, right? With women who, have these great tales to tell, and it's just really wonderful. So I really love the Facebook support system. And it is like having a personal trainer. So you're like my therapist, my nutritionist, and my fitness trainer, right? So I think you get a lot of bang for your buck.
Well, I think so too, which is always the hard part to explain to people what I do or what Mat and Kitchen is, because it is. I mean, it's a workout every 3 days and they're 30-minute workouts, and that's kind of like the subscription piece of it. And you have all of the recipes and all of the offerings that are there, the meditation and the tarot readings. But when somebody asks me what I do or what it's really like, I'm like, there's a lot, and you get to pick and choose how you come in or where you come in, and that the community is real, which is why I wanted to do this, because you guys really do get to be friends and support systems for each other, and you're all over the world, and it's so neat to see it, that it's a real online boutique, studio.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're a teacher, you're a friend, and your guardian angel. All wrapped up into one.
I'll take those.
They're yours.
Thank you, Mama. Oh, I love it. It's great. Okay, so let's see. Talita, will you go next?
Sure will.
Okay.
Hello. I am Talita. I am let me think. Hold on. I'm an Olympic development track and field athlete. I am also 37 years old. And so that's the biggest piece right there. Those two things, most people don't hear in the same sentence.
I'm an Olympic athlete and I'm 37.
Right. And I don't think that I'm old. However, in the world of sports, most people would consider that. However, I feel that I have a lot more to give in that world, and a lot more competitiveness in me. And Mat and Kitchen has supported that. I mean, 100%. My first introduction to Mat and Kitchen or me joining was unfortunately when I sustained a knee injury, and I've had 2 knee surgeries. And so after the surgeries, I can't do anything. And typically for this injury,
You think you can't do anything.
Right. Or I should say the things that are typically in my regimen.
Yeah.
And however, I had a consultation with Tandy, because she had heard and, saw what I was going through and offered to show me the things that I can do and that could support me during the recovery and healing time. And it absolutely did help in the healing and recovery. For me, Matt and Kitchen solves fine tuning. It solves easy access to that fine tuning, because it doesn't have to be a big to do. Going in my normal regimen, going to the track for track practice, going to the gym for strength work, going to, I go to a private yoga instructor as well. So going to yoga, but Matt and Kitchen is available to me any and everywhere, whenever I need it. And so it is that complementary form of physical activity that I need to make those other intense things like track practice, like strength training. It helps sustain that, and it supports that in a way that I wouldn't have guessed in the beginning. I knew I'm also, if anyone didn't know, I'm also a fitness professional myself. So I'm always telling my clients about integrating their fitness, integrating their wellness. So it isn't just one thing that'll help you reach your goals. I don't care what your goals are, whether it's to be an Olympic athlete, whether it's to lose 50 pounds, whether it's to lift 500 pounds. You need a combination of different things put together specific to you and your needs. And that's, sorry.
Good catch.
No,
not the comeback.
Right. So I've always, told clients, you should do, this combination of yoga and cardio and trick training, or you should do this combination of Pilates and trick training, or you should do this combination, because I know intellectually that that's good for the body to integrate things like that. I just really didn't know the depths of it, though, until my injury, until I experienced it that way.
So just as a time, because I think you hit on so many things, but I also want to keep to our time. But she's an incredible coach. I mean, she's a strength and conditioning coach, cardio. I mean, she's an Olympic level athlete. She's amazing. And so I'm always like, she has Matt and Kitchen. It's this beautiful confirmation because what goes into things. So when you came to, how long have you been on the site? Do you remember?
I want to say, although that sounds too short of a time, I was going to say, but let's see. My first knee surgery was 2008, and the second one was 2013. So yeah, 2013.
2013.
Yeah, because it was after the second one.
Almost 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. And so just if there's a tiny little snippet of because you hadn't done Pilates before you and I had met, right?
Only, I think a group class, but not to really truly knowing, no, this is what Pilates is.
So as a strength and conditioning coach and as an elite level athlete, what is Pilates to you? What does it add?
It definitely, when I say fine tuning, when I said that earlier, it's about those little, they seem little, but they have such big roles. Smaller, stabilizing and muscle groups and tendon integrity and that core integrity. And specific to me as a sprinter, core is everything. And when I say core, that's hips, abdominals, back, that whole canister around the trunk of the body. Obviously, sure, of course, my legs are important. The whole body is important, but that's where all the power comes from.
Yeah,
is the center, is the core, and my hips. I mean, yeah. There's no runner. You're not going to talk to any runner or track athlete who doesn't have tight hips.
yeah.
And so to open them, obviously, which is part of why I do yoga, but opening and strengthening them in a very specific way is everything. And I can feel the difference when I go run on the track.
It's great. Thank you for your share.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And Sylvie, I'm going to come to you in just right now. And Sylvie, will you say hi?
Hi, I'm Ann Sylvie, and I'm in North Carolina in the Raleigh area. I'm going to turn 54 in January, and I have been on my kitchen almost 5 years. And I really love the combination of everything that is included in my kitchen. The workout, the food, and I'm getting to be better at meditation, because that's really something that I have trouble with, calming my mind. I'm in this period, which it seems like I've been transitioning to menopause forever, and that has a lot of effect on my body, on my mind, on the way I feel, on my mood, the way I sleep and everything. And really the mat and kitchen and getting on the mat, I try to get on the mat almost every day, really keeps me grounded and helps me with that. I mean, I can tell if I have to miss 2 or 3 days because something else is going on. I start having trouble sleeping, I start having trouble focusing. So it's really keeping me grounded and helping me through this transition and this process. And also the funny anecdote kind of is that most of my life I have been the one who has been seen as the crazy lady who always wants to eat healthy. And I'm kind of getting a warranty through what you do that, you know what I'm doing is actually the right thing. I'm eating real food. So that was a good thing to see. And I like the community that we have. I mean, whatever you have, if you want to you go on Facebook and you share, and you always get advice, or people who say, yeah, I feel like that's the same way, I've experienced this, or they give you ideas or advice, and there's never anybody who say, well, really, you should be doing this and that, lecturing you. So that's a wonderful experience.
I love it.
I plan on staying there.
I love it. And Sylvie, I just love that. The thing that I always come back to is that I remember you were very, I don't want to say resistant, but it took you a while to join, even though we'd had some communication and you were kind of, I feel like kind of dancing around the mat. And then now it's been 5 years. I cannot imagine the private groups without you in the mix. Like, you're part of Man Kitchen and the community of it. So what initially was the resistance to joining? And then
I was wanting to do more things, so I felt that, paying the $30 a month, even though it's nothing, and only maybe getting on the mat twice was not worth it. But then I also did not know how much you actually do when you're on the mat. You just imagine it's going to be like stretching. But then the more you do it, the more you realize it's completely different, and there's so much more to it, that it ends up being all that you need.
It's really, I think that's a perfect thing. And was it Talita Kim said it too, that, especially Pilates, it gets this, this kind of, if you look at it, it goes, oh, they're just stretching. Like, they're just hanging out on the mat. You really do have to try it and experience it to go, oh. And then, because from this end of it, I see that happening. You guys get like, oh, okay, I'm going to stick my toe in, and then you start to understand and you're like, whoa, I really don't have to do anything else if I don't want to.
The more you do it, the more you learn. There's always something else that, you can always do more. It always changes, and you're like, oh, I could do that, this, whatever, this way, and now I can. And so continuous progress changes.
What encouraged you to make the leap when you were originally resistant to doing it?
I'm not sure. It was 5 years ago. Menopause forget things.
Right. It's just, and Sylvia, I just love.
I think I had a conversation with my husband, and I said, you stop for breakfast every day. That costs you more than $30 a month. I can do $30 a month, even if I don't use it every day. And that was kind of the thing. Like, you know what, $30 is nothing.
I love it. And you find that when you're not on the mat consistently, that the insomnia and hot flashes, they get worse. Yeah. I'm just happy that you're here. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm happy too.
Thank you.
I feel like I have a friend, and all the members, they feel like friends, even though we don't see each other except now.
Yeah, but you do, and we are, and it really is this beautiful thing. I had no idea when we launched it. I didn't know what it was going to be like. So this is such a treat to have 12 of you in the room at the same time. Like, really, for me, it is. So I hope it is for you all also. Okay, Julie, I'm going to come see you. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Julie. I'm 36 and I'm from Hoboken, New Jersey. I think M&K for me basically got me in, I get better shape than I was prior to having 2 kids back to back. I think that was one of my big solves, getting back on the mat, because I've kind of always did Pilates for quite some time because I was a dancer before, and I loved yoga, but I truly love Pilates because it reminds me a lot of ballet. But another big reason why I love M&K is, as you know, Tandy, Ryan and I do this together, and it's like a big bond that we have. And I know it's so weird that I do.
It's so cute. And we have to tell everybody. So this is her husband, and they get up at like 5:30 in the morning.
And it's just our bond, and we can talk about it, and we can say, hey, I think you're doing this wrong. I think, you need to do it this way. And it's just something we can kind of like not talk about kids, or work, or what we need to do about the house, but like just about us and our fitness and our well-being. And when one person gets up at 5:30 or 6 in the morning and does it, and the other one's got up in the middle of the night because of the kids, like, I feel bad when I'm not on the mat with Ryan, and I think he feels the same way. So I think what Matt or M&K has brought to our lives is just a better, weird to say it, but a better marriage, probably, just because we can just have a little fun and talk about Pilates in such a dorky way, but
But I love it. Like, you guys are really special too, because this is the classic example of, you're not really in the private Facebook group, so I didn't know you from there. There was no email contact. And then when we moved back to New York and I started doing some like the community classes last year, Ryan emailed me, and like, you guys showed up to class, and it was like the coolest, cutest like story ever. And I was like, you guys are the best. And there are a lot of couples on the mat, and it is interesting, even in our life. My husband is my business partner, and it's like trying to find things that are not work related or kid related can be challenging. And babysitters, time alone together, and just scheduling. I love that you make it this wellness piece, but it's also so fun and bonding for you.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And we knew you from 7 years ago from Exercise TV. And that's the only reason we got it, because we did Exercise TV like 7 years ago, just him and I. And we just loved how you describe every position is perfect, like dead on. And that's how we were like, this girl's so good. And so I think Ryan Googled you one time, and he got this M&K thing. He's like, oh, we have to join.
I love it.
But I mean, like, seriously, Tandy, it's how you describe every single position is how It does. It gets so much harder throughout your time being on M&K, because you get so much stronger and you know what to do, when to do it. But it's just, your descriptions are just phenomenal. Phenomenal. You're just awesome. You should give yourself a big pat on the back.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing. You are. You're great.
Pause to accept accolades. Thank you. Well, I always like, again, it's just, I appreciate it. And it's funny too, because again, with Pilates, and I think Talita will speak to this also, and I'll speak to this as a dancer and an athlete, prior to being a teacher and a coach, that Pilates is weird, like it's rare to, I think, and I'm, it's me, but I think it's really difficult to find a very good instructor, because otherwise it's really dry, or it's really clinical, or it's just like a miss. And so I think Kim alluded to it too, and Sylvia, it looks like nothing's happening. So if you don't get really good cueing, or you don't really like the teacher, like, let's go do something else that's a little more fun. So I so appreciate that. And I also know that the cueing is what keeps people on the mat, because they don't find it at that level, or a fit for their, I want to say a fit for their brains, because I think people cue in a clinical manner that then people don't understand. Like, the way your body is wired from an anatomical space is very different than the way we process in our head to body. And as a dancer, you know that.
Oh yeah.
You're like, I know the fancy names. That's not going to help me do it. So,
yeah, definitely.
I love it. I just thank you. Like, thank
you. Thank you.
Okay. Who's? Let's see. Okay. So. Katie, you want to say hi?
Hi. I'm Katie. I am in the greater St. Louis area, and I am 31 years old. I've been on the mat 2.5 years now, I think. And I really, really love the sense of confidence I get from being on the mat. I just feel more, because of the way you are able to cue us, I feel more in tune with my body. I'm like, oh yeah, my abs can do that, or my leg can move that way. And so it gives me, like, I feel empowered about, I can move this, and I can fix things that hurt. I have some sciatica or piriformis issues. So when I'm consistently on the mat, then it doesn't hurt, and I'm in control of that, instead of, having to take 10 Tylenols a day or whatever it is. And then the food aspect is another one. When I eat food I shouldn't be putting in my body, I'm tired. And so I'm empowered to control how I feel throughout the day by using the recipes, drinking the smoothies for breakfast, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel more in control of my life, which is what everybody wants, really. And then also, I love the community that I get from being in the mat and kitchen, asking questions and hearing other people's stories, and everybody liking my pictures of my pets on the mat with me. It's awesome, and it's really, it's hard to find something like that somewhere where it's just built in from go, that these people are there to support you and answer your questions, and you can learn from them. And it's just it's great for me, physically, mentally, emotionally. I love it.
Love it. I love it. And I do. Your pet pictures are the best.
Thanks.
It's really the best. Had you tried other online fitness things before, or other fitness formats before you came to Mat and Kitchen?
I hadn't done anything online. I was going to the Y, the local Y, and doing workouts. I was running on and off, and I still kind of run in between, or every now and then. But I didn't really have a plan. I would just do I'm going to do the elliptical for a half hour, and then I'm going to do legs today. But I didn't really know what I was doing. I took a couple spin classes, but it was never, I never had a plan for myself, and I didn't want to have a personal trainer. Like, I didn't want to pay money for it, and I didn't really have the time either. So now I can just press play in my jammies and do my workout.
I love it. Well, I do, because it solves so many things. And so when people say, like, I don't want to do an online thing because I want, like, the social aspect of a class, and you hear from everybody, like, I got some things to say about that as a trainer, but you hear everybody go, the community, like, it's really genuine, like, it's real. And there are people that are like, and it's not the naysayers down. It's like, no, everybody's here, like, everybody's at their own place, and we're going to support you in your place. And everybody falls off the wagon at some point, and everybody chooses the food that doesn't make them feel super great. And then we know what to go back to, but it's not a mystery anymore.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. I just love it, because and then what was your route on to the mat?
So I have my friend Kat that lives in St. Louis. She was doing it for a long time, and I actually went and did a workout with her, a mat and kitchen workout with her, and I was like, this is kind of cool, but I don't know if I'm like super into it yet. And then I did one of the superhero challenges.
Okay.
And I did it, and I was like, all right, I got this. 30 minutes, I can do it, and then I'm done. No more gym.
Right?
Sign me up.
I think that's great too, is like the sessions and the 30 Days to Better sessions, and they've evolved, but they've always been the same. It's like you get on the mat, and then you have your email lessons. And I always feel like if you can get through a session, like, you're in. Like, it feels like, oh, I can totally do this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because it was like, it built on, it was step by step. So the first week it was the workouts and then the lemon water. And then after that it was, the full hydration, and then the next set of workouts. And it just builds to a point where you're doing it all the time. And then it doesn't feel like this massive change all at once.
Yeah. That's good. So it's been like, it's 2.5 years. I feel like.
I know. It's crazy, but good crazy. Like,
it's wonderful. Okay. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Paula, I'm going to invite you to share, my dear. Will you say hi?
Can I say no again? Hi.
You're here. You said yes.
So, hi, I am Paula. I have been on the mat for 3 years. As Tandy said earlier, we've known each other for over 20. What does mat and kitchen solve for me? I'm going to try to keep this under 3 minutes. There are many aspects to it. If you guys have been probably watching me pop on and off camera, I'm hyperactive. I can't sit still. And so, but that means that there's a lot of pieces to the mat. I came initially to the mat mostly looking for a wellness piece that would actually work for me, work in my budget, work in my schedule. I moved to New York to pursue dance. I didn't catch it, and I became a massage therapist. And that means I need a huge self-care piece that's really, really difficult to incorporate, because it's just dang near impossible to receive as much care as you're giving when you're working full-time as a massage therapist. There's also the movement aspect of it. I did used to dance. When I don't move enough, I can't sleep. And wellness kind of goes downhill from there, right? And so there's that aspect of it. And there was also, the food piece was huge for me. I had a poor reaction to a medication that I was on. My story was on the fan page recently, and I had put on 25 pounds that would not come off. And I was dancing, and I live in New York, so I was walking a minimum of 5 miles a day, and I was eating well, or as well as I could, and it just wasn't happening. And I came to the mat. I had been seeing kind of the Facebook posts for Then Pimp Your Mat, and I came to the mat from the perspective of having known Tandy for, well, now, over half of our lives. And knowing that this was someone that actually genuinely cared about my health and saying, okay, let me start from there. And I just started with the mat. I initially refused to do the food reset.
How many of you all have refused to do the reset?
For me, largely because it's New York, it's a small space, I'm sharing with a roommate. You guys' refrigerators are bigger than my kitchen. And so it's cumbersome. It was cumbersome to say the least. And 8 months into doing the mat, 2 weeks into doing the mat work, I could feel the difference in my core, and I had never had a core before. And as everyone has said, the cueing is everything. I started Pilates the same time that Tandy did. We can tell you scary stories about the same teacher. And the cueing is everything. The cueing is absolutely everything. I can remember the very first workout that I did. We hadn't even really started. We were just doing the breathing. And I was like, dang it, Tandy! Ow! And I was hooked then. So it does solve a lot of pieces for me. They aren't able to be here for tonight, but Tandy will tell you I've brought my family with me. My mom is on the mat. My aunt is on the mat. So yeah, that's me.
It's great. Yes, the 3 generations, I think one is really powerful. Your mom is 70, right?
70, yes.
And you never know it. I mean, far more fit and more spry than most people in their 20s. But so there's just, again, I think it's interesting too, because you and I have known each other for more than half our lives at this point. And even you had to like kind of nestle into like taking the leap of like, oh, I trust her and I know her, but I'm not ready to do it yet. And then to get to the food and go, I'm not doing that. And then to do the food and have like, you know, it unfold and unravel the way it was meant to, but it's really cool. And also I just think, because we talk about small spaces in New York and in Brooklyn and self-care as a practitioner who's giving care all the time, but also just budget wise, especially in New York and in other cities, it's like, if you have the time, you know, and to have the self-care and you've got great practitioners to help you, like, do you have the budget for it? Like, that's part of why I launched it. I was teaching in an industry where I couldn't afford to take a class.
Yeah.
So, Paula, thank you for sharing. Thank you. Okay, so Becky, would you say hi?
Hi.
Will you tell us like where you are, if you're comfortable sharing your age, and then what Matin Kitchen solves for you in your life?
Okay, I'm Becky, and I am from Harrisonburg, Virginia, originally from upstate New York, and have lived kind of all over the country. Lived in Vail for 8 years, and then down in Louisiana, and now I'm in Virginia. And I had originally found M&K when I was in Louisiana, way, way far from home. Been on the mat just about 3.5 years now. Yeah, I know.
Congratulations.
It's crazy. Was fortunate, like some of you, I have actually met Tandy in person and gave her a big old hug for the life-changing stuff she does. I, like you, Emily, am about to turn 40. Big milestone. It's a little scary. A little scary, since about a month ago, I went back to Vail and visited some friends of mine that I spent a lot of time with in a critical point in my life for 8 years. And we're all kind of turning 40, and it's just like, oh, what's happening? So it's kind of a life-changing experience for me. The reason I got an M&K and why it has changed my life is I had back surgery about 16 years ago, have always had issues with my low back to the point where it's a debilitating, go into hunchback of Notre Dame position and can't get out of it for 3 or 4 days until things finally settle down, and I go through a series of massage and chiropractic care and all of that other sorts of stuff. A friend of mine from college had found M&K, and I was following her kind of process and journey through this. So shout out to Eliza Grandusky. I don't know if she's watching. She's going through a family issue right now, so prayers for her. But anyways, found her and saw this huge change that she had made, and I was like, oh my God, I could do that. At a point in my life where I just didn't want to go to the gym. I wanted to be fit, and I wanted to, I've always been physically active, played sports all my life, but then just didn't want to go to a gym, couldn't find a gym, was new in town type thing. And so I found this and I was like, well, I'm just going to try one of her free 30-day challenges. And so I did it, and I was hooked, literally hooked. Told my husband, I'm like, listen, this is the cheapest fitness place you're ever going to get. I can do it at home. She gives me everything I need. There's a kitchen aspect and a food aspect. She's a personal trainer at home. He's like, okay, hesitant at first, but, started the subscription, and the rest is history, basically. My health has improved greatly. It's funny because I didn't realize, I guess, Pilates could be done just on a mat with very little equipment. When I was in PT for my back, they had me on some of the Pilates equipment, and I could never do it because it instantly would hurt.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if they just weren't teaching me correct form, or I think the key was my core, and instead of teaching me how to engage that core first to do the movement on the machine, they were just having me do the movement, and then it resulted in more PT, which was endless.
Not the point.
Yeah, which was not the point at all. And so it just kind of snowballed from there. And, I was on and off the mat actually for the first year. I wasn't there consistently necessarily. It was just this past year, since February. It's funny, I was watching the Today Show, and Harry Connick Jr. was on there, and they were talking about fitness, and he says, yes, I work out 7 days a week, 365. And I'm like, I don't know why that hit me, but it did. And I was like, really? He goes, it's not necessarily that I'm hardcore pumping weights every single day. I might be doing yoga, or I might, have a down day and just doing light stretching. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I can do that. I'm going to challenge myself. So starting February 1st, I was like, I'm going to get on the mat 7 days a week. And for, I believe it was a solid close to 65 days, I was on the mat 7 days a week. So yeah, yay, because that's an accomplishment. I have 3 little ones, 3 girls. So
let's put that in
mama
too. Because we're talking, the side note to tonight is that Mat in Kitchen is not just for women, but I'm a woman and I'm a mom, and there's a lot of mothers and a lot of women on the mat. And so what it solves for you in particular as a woman, you have 3 kids. Like, I have 2 and a stepson, but my stepson is like grown and in college, so we're not shuffling 3 other little beings in the house.
Yes.
So I think it's fascinating because you hit on so many pieces and I'm like, oh, I don't know which one to highlight. But, you know, there's so much in there. You've got injury, like you're a busy mama. There's a budget issue of it. And it really does feel personal. And it is personal, even though it's not totally just yours, but it is. And then this component of the Pilates equipment, which either people think you can only do Pilates if you have the equipment in the studio. And I taught on that equipment and managed studios for years. And this is another thing about Mountain Kitchen that I love to show is that you don't need it, you know, and that if you've got good cueing and you've got a couple props, like I can get you the goods for like so less of an investment, because those classes, you're looking at $35 per class, a decent one, and more than that if it's a private. So I think, Becky, we should talk more often. There's so many pieces to it here. But I just love it. I mean, you hit like all of these like solvers of Mountain Kitchen in one. That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's the simplicity of Mountain Kitchen. Like everyone says, you can take it anywhere if you're going out of town, if you're traveling, if you know, even your home. I mean, there are times that this week has been a little crazy for me, so I usually have a routine where I do it at a certain time every day, and it gets me through the rest of the day. Well, this week's been crazy, so I'm like, okay, I got to do it at night, and I've been dragging my husband, and I try to drag him more and more, and he's hesitant at times, but I'm like, you just got to do it. You're going to feel so much better, and he does, of course, and then he tells me, so 2 nights ago we did it, and then what does he do the next morning? He goes, I rolled out. I did half that workout without watching it, and I felt so much better. I'm like, see?
It's the magic.
It does work. And so it's flexibility, whether I'm swearing at you during a video or crying. I have that flexibility, and no one's watching, which is huge, because for me sometimes I'm like, I don't need anyone seeing what I'm doing right now, because I'm in some position that no one else needs to see, and there's tears running down my face.
Right. Well, this is kind of it too. It's like, again, when people talk about a studio or going for that studio experience, I kind of go, have you been to a studio? Like in my lifetime, anyhow, I was always in fitness facilities for the most part. And they always put the group fitness room or the Pilates in particular in like the fish tank room with a big window where everybody watches. And I'm like, I don't need anybody to watch. I am self-conscious enough about what I am doing. I don't need the looky-loos.
I don't need to be in a fishbowl.
No. And what Mountain Kitchen also does, which people don't realize, is that because it's just you on the mat or a partner, you know, in your home, it cultivates a self-practice, which a self-practice in yoga or Pilates is often considered only to be for instructors. Like only those advanced practitioners do it. And that, what it means, you get that deeper connection and that quiet time, that you get the real work out of it. So, Becky, you're more than a trifecta. I don't even know what to call it. It's awesome.
Well, I thank you, and I am completely changed by everything. I just want to say I did the reset a couple of years ago. My husband and I did it, and I lost 25 pounds with just the reset. And people
did not know that.
They were like, what did you do? And I kept telling people, and they thought I was crazy. I'm like, no, it's this online personal trainer. And they're like, what? They look at me like I'm completely insane. But I followed it for a while, and I don't necessarily follow it to a T now, but I do know that when I eat things that I shouldn't really be eating or indulge, I know how to get myself back to where I should be, because I have the basic knowledge of what I should be doing.
And that's the piece of empowerment, that it's not that you should do it all the time or that there's any expectation of being perfect. It's that you're empowered to make choices, and that when life gets busy or you make other choices, you know where to come back to. Becky, I didn't even know all of that. That's so exciting.
I've been meaning to email you many of times, and The funny thing is, I will say too, I say yes, I've been needing to email you because we need to chat about a lot of things because I do have some other issues. But the funny thing is an issue comes up or I feel like I'm stuck or have like peaked at something, and then within either the next 2 videos, it becomes fixed. Or it is exactly what I needed at that point in time. So I always just say when I see comments come up or people that are hesitant or they're just like, I'm not sure, I'm like, just keep pressing play. You don't need to follow, I love that you went to this whole challenge of just press play because I honestly couldn't follow the other ones before. I would just press play and not even worry about it. I do the rest of the stuff other than the workouts. I would just keep pressing play.
Yeah, well, and Becky, you and I could probably talk all night. But
Sorry.
No. It's so good because there is this partially, I used to tell, because I would have clients and then we would have M&K, and M&K started really tiny. I mean tiny, like 6 people tiny, and they were all friends. And then it started to grow, and this idea of it being personalized training and the power of macro and micro cycling on the back end of having a good trainer know how to do that is that you wait 2 workouts and like you said, it's solved. And so with clients, I would tease, I'm like, it's magic. It's my mommy magic. Just hang in there. I'll take care of it. Because they would go, how did you know? And I'm like, because it's programmed in the back end. You guys just don't see it. And I think that's really powerful too, this trusting in just press play. Like, I'm going to talk about myself as the third person that, I'm your trainer. So you need to trust the intelligence and the work and the experiences behind it and just enjoy it and not worry about what to pick or what to do and make it complicated. And my goal is always to make it less complicated. And you all have been through some transitions with me, which I'm beyond appreciative of, but to get it to this place of like that comfort of just pressing play because it works. So Becky, thank you so much. And we're gonna have a private email, so just hang in there. Megan, I want you to say hello and share.
You bet. Hi. I'm Megan. I feel like it's like like a meeting. Like I'm Megan. I'm 40.
I have 3 children.
I have 3 children. I teach 2nd grade. I feel like Matt and Kitchen solves a lot of things for me that I have a little envelope here that I've been writing things down on as we've been talking.
And
I have all these words that are circled, like motherhood, empowerment, accessibility, journey. And I don't want to repeat what other people have said, even though I think I could repeat a lot of what other people have said. So I've been trying to think about what I want to say that's different. And I guess I think for me, I came to Matt and Kitchen because of Emily. I go to Seattle every summer to visit my family, and I think I've been on the mat for around 3 years.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And we were just talking in the summer, and I was, after my 2nd child, lamenting how I used to be a runner. I ran marathons. I ran cross country through high school and college, and being an athlete was always a really important part of my identity. And I felt like I just completely lost that in motherhood. And not only part of my identity, but I think also really like sort of my mental therapy, which I think is what exercise is for a lot of us. And also just feeling strong and mentally well. And so Emily mentioned to me that she had, started this new format. And I gave it a try, and I just felt like, I think the convenience factor from the beginning was like the reason that I started, but then like so many people have said it was so much more than that. I think the thing that I wrote down on my little envelope here, my first list, is just that it's a touchstone for me. I think it's like, there are times, like, I'm going to be honest, I have not been on the mat right now. School is crazy. My kids are sick. My baby had her first ear infection this week. I'm a little sick. It's been really rough. But I think the thing about this that's different from any other fitness wellness module, like whatever you want to call it. I think that what's different is that like when I drift away, I don't beat myself up about it. I just know that I can always come back. And sometimes it's a couple of days and sometimes it's a couple of weeks, but it's always right there. For me, it's a touchstone. And I think that, some of the things I wrote down, like there is that community aspect. I know if I have a question that you're right there and all of these amazing women are right there. I think that really matters. I think that I have done the reset and I eat pretty close to reset all the time because I think it changed my life in terms of my outlook on food and what I was putting in my body. And so no matter how crazy my life is, I think I've had a smoothie for breakfast every day for the last 3 years because my husband works really long hours in the city and I have to get all 3 of my kids ready and look like a grown up and leave the house by 7:15 so that I can take my baby to daycare and then go to school and be like a kind patient second grade teacher for the day. And one of my children is in my class this year, just to add that to it.
Because life wasn't enough already.
Right, but I know that like no matter what, I can take the 45 seconds to throw a banana and 2 huge handfuls of spinach and some frozen fruit and some coconut water in the blender, and I have like my big straw cup from Target and I drink it in the car, and I literally have done that every single morning for the last 3 years. And it's like a tiny, tiny act of self-care. It's a tiny act of like feeling in control of something. But it matters, and it's Matt and Kitchen. And I think, the other things I wrote down, like, I haven't been on the mat, but I put my crystals out and I charge them in the full moon. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes it's those little things that make me feel like, okay, like I can always come back. And even if I'm not on the mat, even if I did 10 minutes and then everyone's crawling all over me and I had to like abandon ship, like I did something. And it's better than nothing. It's better is better, right? And I think that's the last thing I want to say. I feel like it's a little bit crazy to me in some ways that like an online Pilates studio has changed the way I talk to myself in my head. But I think that's, to me, like the most important thing that I've gotten out of it. It's changed the way I talk to myself about myself. I think that I can see myself in a different way. I think I can be kinder to myself. I think I can feel strong and empowered on the crazy journey that is motherhood and working motherhood. I think the way that we all talk to ourselves in our heads matters a lot. And I know we joke about the better is better hashtag, but like that's going to be my rebel tattoo someday. But I really mean it. I feel like that mantra, for lack of a better word, like it's something I say to myself a lot as a mother, as a teacher, just as a person. Like I got on the mat for 5 minutes. Well, better is better. I'm sitting here eating chocolate chips. These are not reset approved, but you know what? I had my smoothie for breakfast this morning, right? So better is better.
Let's be clear. Sometimes dark chocolate is absolutely necessary for your wellness and for your health. You know that.
So I hope that's specific enough, but
no, it is, and I love that you brought in the better is better piece, because I do think, again, we're all in this community, and let's be honest, I teach what I needed, right? And so every single bit of this speaks to me as a mother and a person and a woman in the world also initially, because otherwise I couldn't teach it. And so my whole thing being in the fitness industry for so long was that this idea of perfection and this idea that you had to be in a gym and you had to be able to pay for a trainer that costs so much and you had to do it for an hour at a time or more. And then, to get to this point of, well, then what is the point? Why am I even going to try if I can't reach this echelon? And so a lot of people, 1, don't try. 2, don't have any idea that you can feel better by doing really simple, tiny things. And the tiny things are the things. That's what add up. And that our internal dialogue and that self-talk of encouragement to make those small bits feels so empowering. So, this is for people, but when I was asking about women in the world, like, this is it, right? Because there's a lot on our plates, especially as working mothers. And you have to go, nope, this is better right now. This is the fact that I grabbed an apple instead of that candy bar, it's better and I'm okay with that. And it's good and it's better than okay. So that all the tiny pieces matter, and those 5 to 10 minutes like stretch your sanity and your calm, as well as your muscles, ligaments, and tendons, you know, and add to the better of your day. I mean, it's not that we just learn how to navigate better, right? Like now we're empowered to make choices. And so I think the better is better component is huge, and I'm so glad that you highlight that.
I also think you just made me think of something else. I feel like there's also like the flip side to like feeling empowered to make good choices. I remember it wasn't so long ago, but like this comment from the Facebook group has really stuck with me, that somebody said like, just get on the mat and push play and just do what Tandy says. Even if you just do it for 5 minutes, just do what she says. And, you know, guaranteed you're going to end up doing the whole workout, right? And I remember this comment thought, and I feel like it's the flip side to feeling really empowered and making good choices. There's the moments when you're like, I can't make good choices. It's so tired. It's so overwhelmed. Like, I do it. I can't make good choices. So I feel like that part has also stuck with me, that like, I know that like, all I have to do is just like, just even get in the same vicinity as my mat and just do what you say. And I agree with other people. Like sometimes I'm talking back to you a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's some tears, but do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's the flip side to feeling empowered. It's also when you're so overwhelmed and you want to just tap out. It's really lovely to know that you're always there and you're going to tell me what to do, and it's going to be the right thing, and it's going to be what I needed to do. I just needed to listen, you know?
That's so powerful in so many ways, and a whole other installment of something. But like, yes, because, and this is also the, like, it's a room full of women, right? And we're talking about being empowered as women on the mat, as well as just the basics of it. But I do think that we are called upon to solve so many things and do so many things and to figure it out all the time, that the whole, in my opinion, point of having a personal trainer is that somebody else takes care of you. And that all of these other plug and plays online, you still have to pick and make choices. And it's like, dude, if I knew what choice to make, I would be in the gym doing, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need another decision to make in my day. Like this whole, like, let's be empowered by how many decisions we can make and how complicated our coffee order can be. Like, dude, order a coffee. Like, just press play and let somebody else take care of you. Because I think as women, we have warriored so extensively and had to, you know, in order to be empowered, not let anybody help and not show any weakness and make all the decisions and make all the tiny ones and then go fulfill all. And it's like, having somebody show up for you is huge, and learning how to receive and how to be a student and how to be cared for, in my opinion, is utterly life-changing and empowering, which is what changes the self-talk, which is what changes the internal dialogue, and that changes everything. So on that, we're going to end on the high note for that one, because it's huge. I think it's really important, and it's not about being told what to do. It's about allowing to receive, which is completely different.
Exactly.
You know, so thank you, Megan. Rose, I'm coming for you. I have to unmute you first. Okay, Rose, will you say hi?
Hi.
Oh.
My name is Thomas. I'm 32. I'm in Brooklyn. And Mountain Kitchen has really changed the way that I move through the world. Like, not just my posture or something like that, but really my strength and confidence. I'm a musician. I'm also a bartender. I'm also a Scottish Highland dancer. And I've struggled for years, really all my adult life, with various repetitive motion injuries, usually tendinitis, It was in my elbows for a long time, and then I had Achilles tendonitis really bad over the last couple of years. And I went through a lot of different things to try to address that: massage, physical therapy. And I just realized eventually that I could do these physical therapy stretches for the affected part, but that if I would just go to Mat and Kitchen and just press play, that you really just, you not only covered everything, but I really did move past with Mat and Kitchen, with what you do, from a point of injury to a point of really, we can talk about preventing injury, but we can also just talk about being strong. Just being strong and being aware. And there's so many things that I do now because of your workouts. When I'm carrying a grocery bag, I bend my elbow and I squeeze my armpit. I used to carry these really heavy amplifiers on the road, and I would be really macho, with these guys in my band, and I never wanted to say I couldn't carry something, but I was hunched over and I had this long, straight arm. And it was terrible. No wonder I was getting injured all the time. And I just have this like awareness now, because of the training that you provide, which, has really changed my life. And, I think that the world asks a lot of us as women, and that special pressure really lives in and on our bodies in so many ways. And but I just got to say that even if I get on the mat once a week, it feels amazing. I feel like Zeus. I feel so strong, and I've really changed my goals around fitness or weight loss a lot in the last year or so. I stopped weighing myself, which was highly recommended. Wonderful. I have no idea how much I weigh right now. It's great. But, recently, I did have sort of an ideal size, though, that I wanted to get to. Yeah. And I recently sort of changed that ideal size from the smallest size I've ever been to like, okay, if I'm an 8, that would be great. And then like the summer, I actually restarted getting on the mat, like maybe 4 or 5 times a week. And I had embraced this really long haul to getting to my 8, and that was really fun. And I'm sure it was going to take forever. And honestly, in 6 weeks, I was there.
That's amazing.
And I had to buy a smaller belt. And I don't care how much I weigh. I had to buy a smaller belt. It was wonderful. I'm getting
real wins.
In this kind of really astounding and amazing, people might actually listen to us about sexual harassment moment. Half the comments are like, "You look great." Am I allowed to say that still? I've been getting that from guys, who come into the bar. But I think that we should talk. I think that as other people have been talking, the word strength really comes to mind. I feel so strong now. And I care about that so much more. But the things that, it's not just about how I look or what ideal I can fit into in sort of this like vanity way or this expectation way, but what can I do with my body and how do I feel? And I'm not really, a lot of the people that have been talking tonight have been like really athletic people. That was never really my identity. And that's why I like why you teach to these different levels so much. You'll say, you know what, if your leg's all the way up here, doesn't matter, that's great. But then you'll be like, okay, now we're going to go upside down if you want. Not quite going there, but maybe someday. I'm still trying to deal with going upside down. But I do think that your non-judgmental teaching style is really revolutionary. As a musician and someone who teaches music, and my father is someone who teaches music, he explains the physical little tiny tweaks really well. And he's a really effective teacher because of that. And both your ability to clearly articulate exactly how to move your body is just
a whole nother level from any yoga class or any fitness class I've ever done. I'm like, oh, that's what they meant. It's doing bridge pose or something. I've never done a bridge pose that was as effective as the one I've done in Mountain Kitchen, because Tandy's teaching is just so good. And I would say the non-judgmental thing, anything like fitness, which is so intimidating to a lot of people. It's so important psychologically to allow yourself to be a beginner.
Yeah.
Something that you do for people every day is just say, where you're at today is great. You're here. That's everything. Just let yourself not be perfect. That's amazing for people. It's been amazing for me. I'm sure it carries over into other areas of people's lives. And, I got to say the convenience is amazing. The convenience is amazing. I tell everybody about it. I was in the checkout line at Macy's tonight, and the woman was like, my back hurts. I was like, Mountain Kitchen.
You need it.
Like anyone who says, oh, I have sciatica, I'm like, oh, do I have a thing for you? Oh, I have plantar fasciitis. I'm like, oh, writing this down. I tell everybody, I know they don't all sign up, or you would be like, you sent so many people my way. I know they don't sign up, but they should. They're missing out. It would fix their sciatica in like a week, honestly. I guess it's the cost of 2 yoga classes.
Yeah.
In New York, not even. You can't even go to yoga twice in New York for $32 a month.
You can't. It's insane. And I think this is the huge, again, back to basics kind of hugeness of it. But again, all the things that we're either expected to do as women or as people in the world. And then how do we afford to do all of that, just price-wise, and then time-wise? And so even when you're and just cost-wise, we were in Austin, it's still that same price. It's not different, because everybody's on the wellness wagon. So I think, Rose, I love you. But it's so funny, too, because we were kindergarten moms.
Yeah.
And
the snacks. You had the best snacks. I was like, she's on it. You had that huge stroller.
It was my rolling car. That's why.
Amazing.
Because I could put all the snacks in that.
I was like, who needs mud bars or whatever those things that you make? And the kids were, you're amazing.
But I think it's funny too, because it was kind of like, okay, the play date moms, and then I always am very careful of I'm not trying to sell everybody on what I do, but I am, because it changes your life.
You said something, you've really helped me, honestly. Tandy's an amazing teacher. The Mountain Kitchen has really changed my life. Thank you.
Thanks, Mama. I'm so glad you could be here.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one more thing about not exactly swearing at you, but being alone. I just wanted to share something, because I'm with all these other people who have this shared experience. Just something really funny. There's 2 things I say to you. I say, honestly, I feel pretty great. There's a lot of things that I can do. I can't do a wheel. I can't go upside down. I can't. So sometimes I'll say, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And the other thing I say is, I don't know if I just can guess where the workouts are going at this point, because I've been on the mat for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
Something like that. But whenever you say roll to your belly, I'm always like, already there, Tandy. So those are my 2 things. I'm not doing that. And already there, Tandy. So thank you. I can read your mind.
I love it, right? Well, because there's a system to some things. It's a smart student. Thank you so much. I love you so much.
Thank you so much, really. It's really nice to talk about this in this context. Thank you for being there for us in person.
Oh my God. It's a delight. I mean, it just is. And then I hear all these things that I don't know either.
Also the reset, I was very reset.
Oh!
I'm in food. I work in restaurants. I'm a sommelier. I'm not giving up any food groups. I'm going to be one of those people who come into the restaurant.
I know.
That, and I can have this, and then they eat a breadstick, and I'm like, oh, you said you had a sensitivity. But I gotta say, I definitely use the workouts more than the kitchen, but I did the reset once, and I learned a lot from it. I learned I was allergic to rosemary. You know, like I hadn't pinpointed that before, and now I'm like, oh, okay, that's why my tongue swelled up. You know, and it really did. I realize now, even as I hated it at the time, that really helped me break up with bread and pasta and this American thing that we do, which is insane. You know, the amount of bread and pasta that it really helped me. That 3 weeks or whatever that I didn't eat those things, I eat so much less now because it just like broke my habit or something. I meals around vegetables, I batch cook, you know, and I thought I have a healthy diet. I'm fine. I don't need this. This is overkill. Oh, everyone's on a diet, not me. And, you know, I got to say, like, after all these years, even though I just did it the one time, looking back on that, it really did help me. So thank you from a reset.
Well, I know. I feel like, I'm trying to abide by time, and I know we're going over. And I'm trying, but I never thought you would ever do the reset, and I was okay with that. But this is also the piece of it is there's always something to learn from it. And that one, it's beautiful food. I love food. I'm, you know, like super into it. I just can't eat a lot of things, you know. And so the reset has this like value proposition in it, but it does break these emotional bonds to food or allow us to look at them in very different ways and then make choices, right? It's always about empowered choices. It's not about a right or a wrong. It's like, well, what makes me feel my best self, or what do I want to do? And what am I willing to exchange for that? And the food culture of the US is, it's a thing. And so that's like kind of unbelievable to hear from you. And it's really exciting, you know?
It helped me a lot. Yeah. I think the only thing I ever did on the online Mat and Kitchen community was complain about the reset, and then I disappeared.
Which everybody does. They complain until about week 3, and then it kind of clears up. But that's fine.
And they're like, thank you. Anyway,
yeah. I love it. Okay, so it's the best. Marisa, we're going to try to see if we can hear your audio. So give it a try. I don't think so. I know. So, Marisa, what we'll do is I'm going to get you in the next 1 or 2 that we do, because I don't want to miss your story of things and your share at all. But so Mercury retrograde has got to have one little funny flag in it tonight. So I'm going to send you an email and we'll get you in the next group, okay? So Jenna, my dear, I believe we have reached our grand finale, so to speak. Hi.
I'm so excited. I've been taking notes this whole time. Can you?
I know we're all scribbling furiously.
So, okay, let me see. Where do I start? I started on the mat about 3.5 years ago, when my 5th baby was 6 months old. And I remember, like, I was introduced by a friend, and I remember kind of like going, oh, okay, can I do this? And I had the baby like in the front pack and trying to contract my core, and that wasn't working, you know? So, and anyway, so I was like, you know, not totally into it. And finally I was like, okay, it's either cancel this and try the gym, or, you know, go for it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to see what happens. And I joined the challenge in November, right? And that really changed my life. First, I was totally resistant to the reset. I didn't want to do it. I got on the mat for 2 weeks. And then I was like, okay, I feel kind of good. This is good. And I have a background in yoga. I've grown up like with the whole healthy eating and yoga and exercise. I've been very active, but nothing at all like what I've learned from you. Nothing. I mean, it's just opened. I wrote down, like, it's like the keys that unlocked a whole new world for me. And I'm gonna cry.
No, we're gonna close with the cry.
But I feel like that when I can get on the mat and I can go back to what I know works for myself with food that I've learned through doing the reset, that kind of I always know where to go, how to come back. And I have those, it's like a foundation for anything else. I just recently started running again. I used to go jogging, and then I got plantar fasciitis. I had horrible pain in my joints. I had carpal tunnel in both of my arms. So this is right when I started to do the reset. And like, then things started to get better. And I started all of a sudden getting in shape and feeling good. And then boom, my world was devastated. My oldest son passed away unexpectedly in the night. And that was really, really hard. And honestly, like, this sounds so weird to say, but Matt and Kitchen, which was then Pimp Your Matt, was my lifeline. Like, my friends came over and they're like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do my workout. I don't know, and so they did it with me. Like, that was what I did, like, that day. And it seems so crazy, but what do? You have to go through all this horrible stuff. So anyway, that's, it's been really wonderful for me. When I first did the reset, I remember calling Tandy and being like, I don't think this is going to work for me. I'm nursing, and don't you think it's probably a bad idea for me to do the reset? She's like, no, just stick in there, give it a try. And I'm like, yeah, I think this is probably a bad fit. It's probably not safe for nursing mom and all that. She's like, no, it's fine. And I lost like 40 pounds over about 3-month period. And I felt really good and super empowered and strong. And then like then things happen, right? Life happens, stuff goes on, and I sort of let it go. I sort of it was like taking it for granted that my health was good, and I kind of forgot about it. And I looked at myself last April and I was like, oh my God, I've got back up. I gained all that weight back. And I knew what I needed to do. But I just was resistant again for whatever reason, and I wanted to try this drink thing and this other thing and these other things. And my friend's like, let's just go jogging. And so we did all these different things and nothing worked. And I was like, okay, forget it. I know what works. So I was planning a trip to go to Europe, and I wanted to like look good in my clothes and my pictures and all that. And so I was like, okay, I've got like 24 days. 24 days. I'm going to do this. So I did the reset again for just that time, that 24 days. And I brought you with me to France. And I didn't do it every day, but I still did some of my workouts. And I've been continuing since then. And like, I was just telling these ladies, today I'm eating a bunch of licorice just because I really want it. And I know like this is a hard time with the holidays and there's so much good stuff, but I'm planning to do a January reset. And I think if I can do it twice a year, that keeps me really, in tune with my body. What else? Last Sunday night, went out with some friends and we had a great time and had some champagne, and I came home a little bit tipsy. 11:30 at night, I did the workout. I'm like that dedicated. And the next day, like, oh, I'm sore from the push-ups or whatever. But it was like, I easily could have let it go. And today I'm like, this whole time we've been talking, I'm just jonesing to get on the mat because it's been 3 days and that's about my max of comfort where I can go without going. And so it really has become like a way of life. And I just got a tattoo. I'll show you guys. It says freedom. And I feel like, and it has little wings. And I feel like that Matt and Kitchen gives me the freedom from all those pains that I was talking about, from like this culture of social eating that we're all ingrained into, and doing the reset broke that big time for me. Like everybody's going out to pizza, everybody going out to ice cream, birthday parties, Valentine's Day, whatever, and you don't have to buy into it. But then, you can have that treat if you want to. And I think that's the main thing that I have also learned. Somebody said how you talk to yourself. Was it Micah? Like how you just not beating up on yourself, going, it's okay because I'm not going to go off the deep end and go crazy. I still had my like sauerkraut and chicken and yams or whatever that I never thought I would ever like sauerkraut before, but So I've learned so much about myself. I figured out I was allergic to mushrooms, which I never would have known without the reset, because here I was eating so healthy and still having issues. So I've just gotten a ton out, and I agree about the cueing. I contract my core whenever I think of it, sitting on like a bus or, you're traveling, you can do little things, taking a walk. I notice I can like tuck my tailbone under and stretch my quads more, just the little tweaks that you can take it with you throughout your day. And I'm starting to realize that Tandy's like words, that's all in my head. I can remember now after 3.5 years of being on the mat, like I truly have learned this, and it's changed my life as a woman. I feel much more confident and attractive, and I can put on my clothes that I like, and all that stuff. It makes a difference. So I lost that 40 pounds again with it since August or whatever.
I know. I was like, make sure we know that you've done this twice.
Yeah.
Just by going back to what works and by having a home base.
Yeah. And you remember me texting you like, I know what to do. I can do it, but it's hard. It still feels hard. But this time, the second time, it's kind of like you have a baby. The first time, you don't know what's going to happen, right? The second time you have a baby, you're like, okay, it's going to be okay. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck, but it's going to be okay. And that's how I felt. Like, I know that first, period of time when you're doing everything and you're seeing no results, but you have that faith and that belief because it will happen. Then all of a sudden it starts to happen. And I think Rose said, like, adjusting kind of your expectations. I did the same thing. I was like, I want to get down to, this number or whatever. And instead of the smallest that I've ever been. And then without even really trying or setting that goal, I just naturally went to the smallest that I've ever been, but not like with this idea of like panic or pushing, or it was just easy. Yeah.
And this is why, Jenna, again, I'm like, maybe we just need to do a series for everybody and a one-on-one, because everybody's story, it is really real. It is really deep, and it's very different for everybody. But Jenna, you and I feel like I know you so deeply because I have been around for some major transitions in your life. And I wasn't there, but I do feel like it is a support system for you, and that we all go through. Okay, speaking for myself, because this is why I feel like I can get in the pool with you, is that I had some epic things happen in my life, and one around my oldest son. And it's like you have things that shake your world, and you go, I don't know how to be in this world now. And so it does sound silly, but it doesn't sound silly to me because I teach movement. Getting into your physical body and kind of getting out of your head allows you to still function in this world. And it's a beautiful place to exercise your demons and to really move through grief, move through anger constructively, move through deep sadness, and move through the muck. And because you don't have to articulate it verbally, you don't have to share emotionally with people, you just get to be with you. And that movement is so cleansing and so healing. So we had another member that I know of that had a child pass as she's been a member, and it's actually 2. So it's this, again, it's such a home because it's just a support for your wellness, and it's mental. And even though we look at it as physical and we get all of these benefits out of it, it's all about the inside job. But we still have to navigate this physical body. And I think for you in particular, you just have known where to come home to work through it. And it can be so powerful. And I've just watched you relentlessly not give up, but not in this warrior beat yourself up way. Like, you wander off and you have your experiences and your emotions, and then you're like, I need a little pep talk here. I need to hear that it's going to be okay, and that this is what I need to do, and we're all here. And I sit in this room, and it's got, we all have such stories to share. Shame on me for thinking it would only be 3 minutes each, but they're powerful and they're important, and it is more than your workout, even though you get all these beautiful, wonderful, healthy physical benefits out of it. Jenna, you are an angel, you're this whole transition of showing like the human spirit and motherhood in this unbelievable way that is still so gentle and open. I feel very I'm very grateful to be a part of your journey and your path.
Well, I'm so grateful for you, and I know we all are. And I was just going to say, that's why I call you my guru. I mean, I told you I come from, you laugh at that, but the true meaning of the guru is that which brings the dark into the light. And I feel like, what would I do without Tandy and Matt and Kitchen? And I mean, I'm starting to feel like, okay, I'd be okay. I'd know. But there is still like that fear. I think I messaged you like, what happens if you retire? Oh no, but you really are a guru, Tandy. You really are. You're a leader in this industry in a really beautiful way that is so gentle and loving and unique, and you really mother us all. And that is just beautiful. And for me, you brought the dark into the light. You brought this awareness and this ability to kind of find that middle road, find what works for my body. It's not one size fits all. It's very kind. It's very compassionate and accepting of all types of bodies. And I can't say enough good things about, what, and people can't understand it. Like everybody says, like they think we're crazy, but they can't understand it unless they go through it. So you have to just get on the mat and give it a try and take that leap of faith that this is a person who knows what to do and how to help us. And I love pushing play and not having to worry about what am I going to do today, or how am I going to worry about I just have great muscle definition in my arms, in my butt, I have abs. I never had abs before, ever. And I don't even think about it. I just do what you say. And I remember one of the Matt and Kitchen members was like, just, you don't have to do anything, just push play and do what Tandy says. And it's so true. It's like, you don't have to overthink it, and it's because you do all that. So thank you. And we get an enormous value out of this. It's unbelievable. It really is.
Well, I appreciate it. It's a joy to be able to do it and then to see it come to fruition. And when we launched an online offering, I had no idea. I mean, I trained in person for years and managed studios and group classes, and then how much deeper I feel like it gets because it's online, actually, because there's a privacy of the emails and of private groups, and that people are more honest in writing, and then they have time to think through their thoughts and to share things. And that when you're coming in and out of class, it's like more hustle and bustle in the day, in my opinion and in my experience. Okay. That you get that moment of quiet, but then when you have a trainer, what are they really eating? What are they really doing? And I really wanted to open it up and go, look, I'm not doing cardio all the time. I'm really only doing my workouts 30 minutes at a time. And I'm the same way. I'm totally human, and I'm a mother, and we have a small business. And sometimes I have those 3 to 4 day stretches where I'm like, I cannot do my own mat work. And 4 is my maximum limit before I'm just a disaster mentally and emotionally. And those physical things start to come through again. So I think it was really I go, oh yeah, I do kind of mother everybody. And that's good. And it's the good sense of this, as far as what it does for us as women. I think that, the mother wound and the sister wound and the female wound is deep, and that we have a lot of work to do to heal it. And that we all kind of are still slightly in competition with each other, when we just need to be able to help and receive and hold space for each other. So that's powerful to me, because I do mean it out of love, and I know how much pain people are living in, physically and emotionally, that if you can get on the mat and sift and sort some of the pain, life becomes unbelievably better, right? So Megan had said, the better is better. Better changes everything. you know, it doesn't have to be these big sweeping leaps of change, that those small moments and knowing where to come back to and not feeling judged and feeling like you showed up. That's what you got to do, is just show up.
Absolutely. I just want to say one last thing, which is that without doing any cardio, I really didn't do any cardio for that time. And I really lost 40 pounds just doing the 30-minute workouts, like 4 times a week. And like in my robe at night after the kids went to bed, you know, like naked or whatever. Like it doesn't, that's the best part. Nobody can see you. And it just is, it's amazing. People are like, oh, are you a runner or what do you do? And it's just, because I hardly have any time. So busy, you know, so it solves so much for me.
I love it. Jenna, thank you so much. And Emily raised her hand. So Emily, I'm gonna, hang on. Okay, Emily.
Okay, I have to go because lamb burgers have been made for dinner and daughter's having a meltdown, but there's my beat. So I had to show that. And I can touch, look how flexible. So I'm sorry, I have to jump off, but okay. Okay. Love you, bye.
Bye. Okay, I am just gonna say a giant thank you to everyone for being a part of the call tonight, and hopefully it will speak to those who are poking around going, is this for me? Is this really real? Is it really real people? Is there community? What's it like? And that it inspires other women to get on the mat and become a part of the Mat and Kitchen community at matandkitchen.com.